We're at the Texas Capitol because this is where a political showdown is taking place, hardball politics between Texas Republicans and Democrats over redistricting mid-decade. This has made national headlines because this fight has nationwide implications over the balance of power in Congress in next year's midterm elections and beyond. Speaker Dustin Burrows has scheduled a House session at 1 p.m. tomorrow after Democrats broke quorum 3 times last week. That prevented the House from establishing a quorum so they could vote on the new congressional maps in Texas that would give Republicans 5 extra seats at the expense of Democrats. The House needs 100 members to show up for quorum, but while that didn't happen, they did get close. Most of the Democrats flew to other states, meeting with Democratic governors in Illinois, New York, Massachusetts, and California on Friday. They want those states, which are run by Democrats, to change their congressional maps too, to neutralize Republicans' efforts here in Texas to give Republicans more seats in Congress. Republican State Representative Jeff Leach of Allen expressed frustration over the Democrats' moves.
Absolutely, it bothers me, and it bothers the people of Texas, too. I wish it bothered our Democrat colleagues more, that they seem to be spending more time in blue states like Illinois, New York, and now California.
On Friday, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed an emergency lawsuit with the Texas Supreme Court to remove 13 House Democrats from office. They include 4 Democrats from North Texas, Ana Maria Rodriguez Ramos, Jessica Gonzalez, and Mihaela Plisa, all of Dallas, and Chris Turner of Grand Prairie.
This is just more bluster and rhetoric from, Abbott, Paxton, my Democratic colleagues, and I are fulfilling our legislative duties by exercising our right to break quorum and stop consideration of this discriminatory redistricting map.
Here at the Texas Capitol, Speaker Burrows signed civil arrest warrants for all of the Democratic lawmakers who left the state. Burrows also met with Texas DPS leaders, and DPS agents then went actively searching for House Democrats who may still have been in Texas to bring them back to the Capitol so they could reach a quorum and hold session. The Attorney General also filed a lawsuit against former Congressman Beto O'Rourke and his organization, Powered by People, in Tarrant County Court. Paxton accused O'Rourke and his group of illegal fundraising to pay for Democrats to leave Texas to break quorum. O'Rourke said Paxton wants to make examples out of those who fight so that others won't, and O'Rourke said he's not going anywhere. The court did issue a temporary restraining order against O'Rourke and Powered by People late Friday afternoon. Earlier last week, Governor Abbott filed an emergency petition with the Texas Supreme Court to remove State Representative Gene Wu of Houston. He's the House Democratic Caucus chairman who is leading Democrats on this quorum break. Wu filed his response with the Texas Supreme Court Friday. We interviewed Wu about the governor's petition against him last week.
I thought it couldn't be real, that this is just absolute insanity. I have very few words about how dumb this is.
And so I know you issued a very big statement. The governor accused you of basically forfeiting and abandoning your office because you have left and you've led the other Democratic members as caucus chair to leave the state, break quorum, et cetera. So how do you respond to that? Are you abandoning your office?
Well, it's not my office, and it's sure as hell not Governor Abbott's office. This office belongs to the people of the state of Texas. And I have taken an oath to defend those people and to protect them. And when Governor Abbott conspires with a disgraced president to use unconstitutional, illegal racial gerrymandering to strip power away from communities who have spent decades building up their strength, building up their voice, building up their power, to have it stripped away by Donald Trump, that's not going to happen under my watch. We're here to deny this corrupt government their ability to destroy our communities. I'm here defending my community and doing my job to the absolute best of my ability.
I know that the Texas Constitution allows for quorum breaking. It's in the Texas Constitution, but at the same time, it also allows for quorum enforcing. And the language is even basically saying that the Texas House and the Texas Senate have the authority to physically restrain members and bring them back to the Texas Capitol, those that are within the state of Texas. And so I'm wondering, are you going to be returning to the Texas Capitol by this next deadline that was set today by Speaker Dustin Burrows for Friday at 1 p.m.?
So they can do whatever they want to do. In fact, the ball is really in their court. We have said that we are going to end this corrupt special session. We will make this known to the entire state to warn the people of what they're doing and how corrupt it is. And what happens after that? What happens after that is up to them. What happens after that is up to them to decide whether they want to continue this corruption or whether they will do what the people have asked them to do. That's not up to us. That's up to them. They're in charge of the state. The Republicans have been in charge of the state for 30 years.
You are not going to be returning to Texas by 1 p.m. Friday to the Capitol.
I think I'll say it the way that Barbara Gervin Hawkins, the chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, said it best. Hell no.
Republican state representatives, including Katrina Pearson of Rockwall, applauded the governor's move.
I think that this is probably the best thing that happened for the Texas GOP, considering I'm on the redistricting committee. I went all over the state. We heard testimony, several hours of testimony from people all over the state that were complaining about the current map. And the proposed map actually addresses the majority of the concerns. And that is what is reaching national attention now, because the irony is that Democrats have fled to states like Illinois and New York, and these are the states that have already done this. And so it puts a spotlight really on them and their inability to stay and do their jobs. We have a constitutional obligation here. And the fact of the matter is, if you don't like a bill, like any other bill, there's a button on your desk to vote no. Instead, they chose to flee the state, backing up all of the other important legislation that we are trying to address, like legislation for the flood victims and lowering property taxes.
I also want to ask you about what Governor Abbott filed, this emergency petition to remove the Texas House Democratic Caucus Chair, Jean Wu, from office. I saw on social media you agreed with that. Why is that?
We are constitutionally required to be here. So pulling political stunts like that is not representing your districts. These guys are fleeing for political purposes, and there should be accountability.
Let me ask you, though, because the Texas Constitution does allow for quorum breaking. Isn't that a valid defense?
Well, not only does the Constitution do all kinds of things, but there are also consequences outlined within the law. So here we are at a showdown at the state level, and they don't want to do that because they don't want to face the truth, Jack. The truth is that minorities in the state are trending Republican, and that is what's actually being highlighted. And that's why I say it's probably the best thing that ever happened for us.
I know some lawmakers have already filed bills that would basically, if lawmakers don't show up for a consecutive amount of days, I think one of the bills said 7 days, that they, in fact, could be removed from office that way, and so make it a state law. Is that something that you would support?
I would absolutely support that. Again, you know, we are not paid the big bucks to do this, and people have jobs and they have families. So when you sign up for this, you are signing up to exercise a duty, and you take an oath to the Constitution, and you need to show up to fulfill those duties. We have serious issues that we need to address with regards to the floods in this state. I mean, the whole country saw the devastation that Texas faced, and we should be addressing that today. But instead, Democrats are playing racial politics and stopping the process.
And as far as the map, why do you think this is the right move for Texas?
Well, it's political, the way the state has been trending politically, and that is the law. We even had lawyers who testified who could not dispute the law. And again, the other states have already done this. Texas is just catching up.